the hoop under the foot so that the fabric is flat on the surface of the machine and the hoop is like a well. Lower the presser foot. This engages the tension. The foot keeps the fabric from bouncing with the needle as you sew and serves as a safety measure, preventing your fingers from getting too close to the needle. Grip the hoop on both sides and push down the loose thread with your thumb with a small amount of pressure so it doesn't fly loose as soon as the needle starts bouncing. Lower the needle so it is only just piercing the fabric. Put your foot on the foot pedal, and as the engine starts and the needle begins to rise and fall, push the hoop around, going over your pencil lines drawn on the tissue paper. If you stop moving the hoop, take your foot off the pedal. When you come to the end of the line and need to restart elsewhere, simply press a foot and lift the needle up to its highest position. Pull the top thread to one side while moving the hoop to reposition the needle to a new starting point. Pull out more thread so you have a 15 centimeter tail before you start sewing. Snip the thread with a pair of scissors or use the thread cutter on the side of the machine if you don't want loose threads. Do this every time you need to move. This is the speed I felt comfortable sewing at, as it gave me a neat, controlled stitch that still mimics Rosie's sewing style. Always check if fabric has not been accidentally folded under the embroidery hoop. Smaller areas like the face and hands are more challenging because the threads tend to tangle and it's harder to see the details. Rosie James does occasionally hand stitch the face as it is less challenging to sew by hand. If the tissue paper does start to deform, you can still sew over it. The thread will pin it back to the fabric. When sewing the face, do each facial feature separately. Rosie James will often carefully peel away the tissue paper around the people she has stitched to create a contrast between the white fabric and the slight, opaque tissue paper. Be careful not to pull the tissue paper so hard as you might pull out the thread too.